Come to Salem, Massachusetts with me in October, and I will give you the best day-and-a-half itinerary. We'll check out some street buskers, go to the cutest cafes, go to an amazing museum, and check out all the cool photo ops. We'll also take you to an amazing night fair that you don't want to miss, and lots of Hocus Pocus film locations. Let's go!
Welcome to VO's Travel. Where to go and what to see. With kids.
Without kids. Definitely without. So my friend and I spent the day before Salem in Boston. I do have a couple videos about Boston, so go check them out. But we stayed the night in an Airbnb and then headed into Salem and parked at the South Harbor Garage at 8 a.m. We walked to the Charter Street Cemetery and got there about 8:05 and spent about 5 or 10 minutes looking around. You can see the memorials and then the graveyard as well. That's all in the same place, and it's not a far walk from the garage at all. By 8:15, we were walking past the Old Town Hall. If you are a Hocus Pocus fan, this is where Bette Midler sang, "I Put a Spell on You." Next up was the Witch House. We got there by about 8:20, and this is usually a very busy place to take pictures in front of, but because we got there so early, there was not a line, and we did plan it that way, so make sure you hit up these places early. On our way to the next place on our list, we did walk by the First Church in Salem. I do have another video that does give specific addresses and prices and all that, so check out that video right there. We did make it to our next location around 8:25 a.m. and this is another Hocus Pocus location, Allison's house. In October, they do decorate the front of the house exactly like it was decorated in the movie. This is my last plug, I promise, but I do have another video all about the Hocus Pocus film locations. By 8:30 a.m., we had made our way to Gulu Gulu Cafe for breakfast. This gets very busy, so get there early as well. We were there from about 8:45 a.m. to 9:15 a.m. They had amazing servers and the food was great too. After breakfast, we did meet up with a photographer and had a fun little spooky photo shoot. Something else fun to do on your visit there. By 10 a.m., we had walked to the Witch Dungeon Museum, the best museum in all of Salem. If there is only one museum that you choose to check out in Salem, you need to check out the Witch Dungeon Museum. They do have this original beam that was from the original dungeons from the actual witch trials. By 10:20 a.m., we were done with the Witch Dungeon Museum and headed over to the Bewitched Statue around 10:30 a.m. After that, we headed to Essex Street. This is where it's at, and my other video will tell you all about it, but there are tons of actors, buskers, so many fun photo ops, so many fun people to meet on this street. It's a street full of shops and creepy people, and like I said, the best photo ops. You need to check out Essex Street. That is the place to be in all of Salem. Make sure that you do take $1 bills, because if you do take a picture with these people, it is nice to give them $1 or $2 tip. That tip is included and many more in an upcoming video that I do have all about tips and tricks to visiting Salem, especially when you go in October, because it can be a very busy place. There's all kinds of shops to check out too. By 12:15, we were done with the shops in Essex Street and headed over to the Howling Wolf. We got there about 12:25, and this is the place to go. It's a little bit off the beaten path, but only about a 5-minute walk from Essex Street. We got right in despite it being the weekend before Halloween, and I highly suggest you do too. Check out this drink. How fun. We were done by 1 p.m. and headed back into downtown Salem to check out some decorations, more shops. You have to check out Why Not Swans. That was an amazing place. And more cute photo ops. In my other video, I do tell you specifically where to go to get all those cool pictures. More buskers, more street performers, more actors. This place, you just have to go. If you have not been to Salem in October, please go. By 3 p.m., we headed over to Salem Common, and this might look a little bit familiar if you love the movie Hocus Pocus. This is the common area outside of Max and Allison's school where Max asked for Allison's number, and she gave his number right back to him, and there is their school. They are right next to each other and is on the way to another shopping area that we will check out here. By 3:15 p.m., we were at the Derby Wharf, which is this street. It's like a U-shaped street with lots more shops that were really cool. You don't want to miss this area. These shops were really fun. Lots more photo ops and just a really fun place to check out. Coven was a must-see shop and had this amazing photo op, and the Witchery was fun too. You can make your own broom there. There is a national park location in Salem, so check that out. By 4 p.m., we had walked to the House of the Seven Gables. You do need reservations and tickets to enter there, and by 4:30 p.m. we were done and headed across the street to the oldest candy shop in all of America. We had 5 p.m. reservations at Sea Level Oyster Bar, and I suggest you do too. Any reservation that you do make for Salem for the month of October needs to be made at least 2 to 3 months beforehand. So if you're headed to Salem in October, get your reservations ASAP. By 6:15 p.m. we had made it back over to Salem Common. Are you familiar with the movie Hubie Halloween? These lights are left there from that movie. How fun is that? Then we were back to Essex Street to check out the nighttime decorations. By 6:30 p.m. we had walked to the Howard Street Cemetery, a must-see in Salem as well. And next was the Salem Night Fair. We hopped in our car and drove over to Pioneer Village and got there about 7:25 p.m. The line was long, but we were in the doors by 7:35 p.m. that night. I do have a video all about the Salem Night Fair, which was an amazingly spooky experience, and it's only open the 2 weekends right before Halloween. They do sell some items. There's food and lots of actors you can interact with. There's candles for sale, t-shirts, art, lots of things to do and see. It is a little creepy though, so keep that in mind. We were done by 9 p.m. and headed back to our Airbnb. Our Airbnb is in a quaint little town called Marblehead, not too far from Salem. We woke up and made a quick little drive over to Max and Danny's house and were there by 8 a.m. and then drove back to Marblehead to Proctor's Ledge. We arrived around 8:30 a.m. This is another memorial to the people that were killed during the witch trials, and around the corner from that is the actual location of where they were hung. In my other video, I tell you exactly how to get there. By 9 a.m., we were at the Blue Canoe for breakfast. It was a cute little coffee shop with lots of pastries to choose from. We sat in the window and had a cute little view of the town of Marblehead. After breakfast, we drove to Old Burial Hill, which is a cemetery in Marblehead where Max was bullied on his bicycle. We were there by about 9:40 a.m. and it was a beautiful place to look out and around. It gave beautiful views of Marblehead. Just look at those streets. We also spent an hour or two shopping in all the little shops. Right there is another Hocus Pocus location. Do you recognize it? By 11 a.m., we were at Fort Sewell, which is also in Marblehead. This was a really fun and relaxing place to just sit and watch the ocean and watch the waves come through. There's lots of history there if you are interested in that. And then by noon, we went to the best lunch place in all of Marblehead. The Barnacle is a quaint little restaurant right on the water, and they have this bar along these back windows. That's where we sat with the most beautiful view of the ocean, and I had the best fish and chips I have ever had in my life. After lunch, I headed back into Salem and back to Pioneer Village. Now, mind you, that is where the Salem Night Fair is located, but it is also another Hocus Pocus film location, and during the day, it is a live history museum. I was there by 1:15 p.m. and got to check out a couple of the buildings from Hocus Pocus. I left there about 2 p.m., headed to the Boston airport, and was in the air for a 4 p.m. flight. I hope you enjoy this itinerary that I took a long time to plan out and make sure that everything flowed and that we got to see everything in the day and a half timing that we got there. This is another view from Marblehead. You have to check out the quaint little town of Marblehead when you do your Salem trip. It is just such the perfect little East Coast town. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this video, and as always, I hope that you remember to choose joy and take all of the pictures.